Good evening and welcome to All Things Sky Blue match preview for Saturday's game at the CBS Arena against Bristol City. I'll bring my guests on shortly, so just remember where you can find us. We are available on Twitter or X, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. We're on YouTube. Please go and like and subscribe to us. We're also on podcasts, so please go and rate us 5 stars if you just listen to us and not watch us. We are sponsored by Right Steel Fabrications. His logo's in the corner. He can do your steel fabrication work up and down the country, but mainly in the Coventry and Warwickshire area. We're partnered this season with the Anecdote Sports Bar at the CBS Arena and also the Sky Blue Tavern, where I am tonight. So before I bring in David from Forever Bristol City, let's bring in Mark. Good evening, Mark. You okay?
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, good, thank you.
Good. So, how are you feeling about Saturday? Obviously, we got a 1-1 draw in 90 minutes against Sheffield Wednesday in the Cup, and then extra time, and then obviously we beat them on penalties. How are you feeling about that? You're going into a little bit more confidence?
Yeah, I think we have to. We've got no choice really. We need to start winning games of football because we're still in a position where we can get caught into a relegation dogfight. So we need to start putting together some wins in the league. Obviously, last time out of the league, we lost to Norwich, which was really disappointing, having made that trip, being the lead, being in front for so long, and then chucking it away at the death was bitterly disappointing. So, I'm hoping for a good performance. Bristol City are doing pretty well this season, 9th in the league, really solid championship side. Probably their away form isn't as strong as their home form, but will be tough opposition, so we've got to be our best to win.
Yeah, and our home form, to be fair, I think we're 6 unbeaten now, including the cup games at the CBS Arena. So signs going forward look like Lampard's slowly building the CBS into a little bit of a fortress, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, we're doing pretty well. I mean, I think admittedly we've played teams sort of on the wrong end of the table. A lot of those games, Big Plymouth, Hull, two examples of that. Millwall were also kind of around us in the table. So I would say we haven't really had. I think this game will be a test. Bristol City are a good championship side, as I said before. I think one of the things I'm quite happy about with Lampard is he's just tweaked the formation a bit with an extra centre half, which seems to be pressing teams a bit better. So there are some good signs. I just think we need to be a bit more. We need to improve our finishing. I think that's the big problem for me. So, I think we need some goals from our strikers really, because we're not getting enough goals from our strikers at the moment. So I'm hoping that will change from Saturday.
Yeah, definitely. And on that note, let's bring in David from Forever Bristol City. Hi, you, David. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Stuart. Good to see you again, and you too, Mark.
Thank you very much. Obviously, Mark mentioned there, David, that your away form isn't the greatest. I think you've got to go back to the 9th of November for your last away win, and that was a 2-0 victory against Norwich. So good opposition. How are you feeling going into this game?
How am I feeling? 20 games to go. If we're going to have any chance of the playoffs, we got to win half of those. Yeah, I think we're in a little group of 8 clubs that are chasing 5th and 6th. Now we're 3 and 4 points off those 2 positions respectively, but right here, right now, both those teams in 5th and 6th have got a better goal difference. So, we've got to get a result. We've got you and Sheffield Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday. We've got to get something, and I mean one win in the next 2 away games before quite a critical game against Blackburn next Saturday at home. That's Saturday the 25th. So the fans are feeling optimistic. We lost to the Baggies just before Christmas, but the 4 games, including the 2 over Christmas and New Year's Day, we've won 3, drawn 1. So, 10 points out of 12 there. We narrowly lost to Wolves in the Cup last week. There's a feeling of optimism, but tempered by the fact that it doesn't look as though we're going to be doing anything in the transfer window that's wide open at the moment.
Yeah, obviously you mentioned the transfer window there. Marcus McGuane, he's been ruled out for this game. You've also got Cam Pring out Armstrong out, Joe Williams out. So I'm not saying that you're down to the bare bones because you've still got Scott Twine available, and I think Max Bird's back as well. How are you feeling in terms of personnel? Do you think you are a little bit light?
To be absolutely honest, Stuart, I don't think we are light on personnel. I mean, if you look at if you look at how we'll likely line up, he's decided to go for a back three, and Rob Dickey missed the last game, but that was through sickness. So I think we're likely to line up with a Viner, Dickey, McNally, the signing from Burnley, as a three, and then wing backs on the right side. He's got to choose between Ross McCrory or George Tanner, yeah. And then on the left side, yes, we're a little bit weak there because we can bring out Hayden Roberts, who was on loan at Derby all last season. We signed him in the summer, ex-Brighton player. He was the weak link in a couple of games. Midfield, the Jason Knight, Max Bird pivot will work well. Scott Twine playing some decent football now. He's coming into his own. He's shown he's worth that 3 million. He's sort of playing right-ish, but not as a winger, obviously. Anis Mehmeti playing wide on the left. He's been a revelation this season, 9 goals so far. Up front is where we got the problem, and we're still relying on Naki Wells for goals because our 2 signings, Sinclair and Mayulu, we've signed 2 duds. If you ask any City fan, they would say those 2 summer signings as replacements for Tommy Conway, they've not worked out. So there's question marks being asked over recruitment. Scott Twine, great. You've seen the free kick. He scored 2 stunning free kicks. He's playing the best football he's played since he came to the club, which obviously included the last 10 games of last season on loan. So I don't think we're weak. I don't think we're weak at the moment. No.
Okay, interesting. Obviously, coming to the CBS, our last game we had a 1-1 draw. Normally it's Dickey that scores against us, but I believe it was a Tanner goal, wasn't it? A volley.
Stunner. Absolute stunner down at
Ashton
Gate.
A brilliant goal. And obviously Casey Palmer, who we haven't got anymore, we lost him on the last day of the transfer window, jinked through, and we got a 1-1 draw. And that was after, I think, a 1-0 win in the Cup.
You beat us in the Carabao when Mark Robbins did that. Was it 5 substitutes in one go?
He did.
And that made the difference. That made the difference that night.
Yeah, obviously we haven't got Mark Robbins anymore. We've got Frank Lampard. So
Frank Lampard's Coventry City.
I don't necessarily like to hear that, but yeah, it is a little bit. Now, coming to the CBS or the Ricoh Arena, back in the day, you haven't got the greatest of results coming out of that way. Do you think that's going to hold a factor, or do you think it's just a completely a fresh start?
I think anything that's gone before, it's a fresh start. I mean, if you take the last 5 times we've played you up there, probably Robbins has been in charge. We're coming up against, Coventry with Frank Lampard at the helm. I think what's gone before doesn't make any difference. I mean, Lampard's record is middle of the road so far. We're in with a glimpse of a playoff hope. I think we're taking about 2,500 fans up there. So they're going up expecting to get something. But as you said in your preview, Lampard's building the CBS into a bit of a fortress at home. So it's not going to be easy. If you offered me a point now, I'd probably take it. Yeah. But then that puts the win against Sheffield Wednesday at Hillsborough Tuesday night. Yeah,
definitely. Mark, obviously, he's happy with the point. We're kind of not happy with the point. We're definitely going into this one with a little bit of confidence. Not much, but a little bit of confidence. But we are expecting to get the 3 points at home, aren't we?
Yeah, I think it's probably, any home game you play, you always feel you're in a chance of a win. Bristol City, are a good side. Obviously, the league table tells you that they've been getting better results this season. But yeah, there's no reason why we can't get the points. Obviously, being without Mason Clark, Hadji Wright, Benchi, so 3 important players is a blow. I look at that team.
Sorry to interrupt. My optimism has just gone up there, Mark, because they're players that have stood out on your side for me.
Yeah, I mean, definitely sort of in the case of Hadji Wright and Mason Clark, they've been probably our best two players this season. I think Benchley did have a fantastic season last year. This season hasn't been at his best. He's had a lot of injuries. His form's been a bit hit and miss, but obviously he's still a blow. We know what he can do. So I think tactically for this game, I don't think there'll be a lot of changes from the previous cup game at Sheffield Wednesday. I think the only changes I would make is I wouldn't play Jay De Silva personally. I mean, obviously you know quite well, David. I'm not a fan.
I was going to say, is he a regular or is he a sort of squad player and plays occasionally these days?
I'd say he's more of a squad player. He's not. I mean, Jake Bidwell for me is probably the better of the two players, but I don't think he's not fantastic, but he's probably the better of the two players in my opinion. So I would expect him to start. I would like to, I mean, I guess the conundrum here is Asante. Is he start for you, or would you go with Bissett and Sims up front? Would you like to see two up front or one up front if you're Frank Lampard?
Well, I still prefer to see a two up front, but obviously today has been, Blackburn have come out and they've put a bid in for him for £1.75 million. So he might not even be on. It might end up being Sims and Bissett. Go on, David. Sorry.
Is that Thomas Asante that Blackburn have come in for? You see,
Yes.
when we sold Tommy Conway to Borough for $5 million, yeah. Oh, hello.
Sorry, it's fine. Carry on, David.
When we sold Tommy Conway for $5 million to Borough, instead of going out and buying two maybes, I was a strong advocate that Thomas Asante should be the sort of player on our radar. Now, if he's going to potentially go to Blackburn for 1.75, right? He's the sort of player that we should be coming in and spending that money, because if let's say we get 7 points out of the next 3 games before the window shuts, we're going to be cementing that 7th position with that sort of record, and Asante could make the difference. Now, how has Asante been? Are you bothered about losing him? That's the key question for me.
Me personally, no. I would let him go and spend that money on a central midfielder or a central defender that we need. He hasn't hit the ground running like he has. He scored one good goal against Tottenham in the cup earlier on in the season, but apart from that, he's missed glaring chances, and that was the one thing that West Brom fans said. He said he'll work all day for you, but his finishing isn't the greatest, and it's kind of worked out that way, hasn't it, Mark?
Yeah, it has. I mean, I've been disappointed in him, really, in all honesty. He started the season quite well, as you mentioned, that goal against Tottenham. And I think they're spot on. I think his work rate, I could never fault his work rate. I think he works really well for the team. I saw the performance against Norwich. His off the ball work was excellent. So I'm not critical of him on that aspect, but what you're judging strikers on his goals, taking your chances, and he had an excellent chance against Norwich, the 1-on-1 with the keeper, and he put it wide. Now, a striker bit of form there. The ball sits up. He could have just lobbed it over the keeper's head. It's come off this line, and there you go. We're 2-0 up against Norwich, and at worst we get a point there. But he missed that chance, and we go on and lose the game. I'm not going to say he was the reason why we lost the game, but that chance didn't help.
And are you playing him as a what? Are you playing him in a 1 or in a 2 alongside Sims?
So on Saturday we played him in a 2, but he has been playing a lot as a wideman. So the conundrum. I mean, personally speaking, we don't have a big squad. This is the problem I have. I know Asante hasn't really hit the ground running with us. He hasn't scored any goals in the league, but I just feel that if you sell him, you've got to get someone else in. We don't want to make our squads weaker. When we're depleted. So it's a difficult one. I understand the argument for wanting to sell him, but I mean, Lampard has got to look at, well, who can we bring in for him? Because there's no point. I think we spent close to £4 million on him from West Brom. I mean, I don't think he's worth £4 million. I would say probably about at least maybe half that, even the value that Blackburn are offering us, if that is indeed true. I think as a player there, I'd be a bit reluctant to sell him. That's just my view. I'd give him a bit more faith and think, well, give him an opportunity to turn things around. But the finishing does need to improve. There's no question about that.
I mean, he's similar. He's similar build to that Sinclair Armstrong, that we signed from QPR, and Asante impressed me when he played in a cup game for West Brom at Ashton Gate, tail end of, I think it was 2022, and he's got that physicality. And some of the words you've used there, very much, because I think we paid QPR about £1 million for Sinclair Armstrong, maybe 1.5. Fally Mayulu from Rapid Vienna, £2 million there. So we spent 3 million, and obviously 2 wages as well on 4-year contract. But Armstrong, he's sort of exhibiting some of the things you said there about Asante. He's not the finished article, whereas Asante, how old's Asante? Is he about 25? Whereas Armstrong's 20.
Yeah, I think it's about 26.
Yeah. So maybe we got a better deal after all with Armstrong, that he's got the potential to develop. Whereas, if if he does go for that sort of money, you're taking a hit, but just moving the player on, aren't you? If you're selling him for 1.7 and you paid £3 million for him, or do you not think as much as that?
Well, me personally, I don't think it was as much as that. I think with add-ons and stuff, I think potentially it was up to that, but I think the initial outlay wasn't as much. I think it's probably talking about half that, maybe. So we'll be recouped with it. It's a loss. It's very rare on a transfer that you make money anyway.
Yeah.
But it's me personally, I would happy to take the loss on him, really. So talking about transfers, you don't think that you're going to be doing anything, David, this window?
Well, I mean, we've got one player that's surplus to requirements. If you ask all the fans, he's not the best, but he's just on his way out of the ground, and that's Harry Cornick, who was a member of Luton's promotion side. His career has been suffering with fits and starts. There's talk about him going to Wrexham of all places, but he's on a contract that's got another 18 months to run. That's probably in 5 figures per week. He's going to sit there and run his contract down. We've let Rob Atkinson go on loan to Portsmouth, but then he hadn't played a game for 2 years. I mean, most City fans, look, if Antoine Semenyo, who scored a cracking goal for Bournemouth at Chelsea last night, if Arsenal or one other club, I think even Liverpool have been mentioned him, if Semenyo went this window for, I'll say £40 million, which is not the highest figure that's been mentioned, we'd get a £6 million cash injection. Yeah.
Oh,
But
wow.
most City fans would say that needs to go in to get a good number 9 on loan, because we all remember, it's going back 8 years now, but you'll remember the name Tammy Abraham. Yeah. He came on loan and he scored 20 goals that kept us in the Championship 2016-17 season. And that's the sort of loan signing we need. But people are saying we need a striker. We're still the 8th highest scorers in the division. So, you could argue what's to moan about. But I don't think there's going to be anything. I don't think there's going to be anything significant happening. Yes, we need a backup goalkeeper to Max O'Leary. He's got his critics, but if a goalkeeper comes in, who's going to come in and be backup to a guy that is not a bad Championship keeper if you look at things in the round?
Yeah. Just obviously, because I know obviously time's a little bit of a factor for you as well, David. But just before I go on to predictions and stuff at the end, let's have a look at the quickfire questions that we did at the end of the first game that we did, just to see if anything's changed.
Go on then.
So I asked for a player to look out for, and you said Fally Mayeu. How has that worked out for you?
That's like not at all well. That's like a bad advice on the stock market. You put all your money into that. No, he's not. You got to feel sorry. People are feeling sorry for him. You can sense that even when he traps the ball, the fans are willing him to do a basic thing like trapping. And he scored 2 goals in his first 2 games. But, so no, he's been I'm afraid it's a for Mayulu.
Okay. You said, I asked you where would Cov finish. You said 8th. Have you changed your mind on that?
In terms of where Cov finish, I think you're probably going to be in that 11th to 14th, because you got some good players there. So I think you'll be higher than you are. Let's put it like that. Yeah.
I asked you where you would finish. You said 6th. Has that changed?
I think that's an achievable objective right here, right now. Yeah. I look at it between now and the end of the season, 5 lots of 4 games. Yeah, because 20 games to go. And it's got to go 2-1-1. So each group of 4 games got to win 2, draw 1, lose 1. That would put us on 73. That might just about secure 6th. But most of the fans would be happy if we were ended the season 3 points off the playoffs. That would still be seen as progress.
Okay, excellent. I asked for one player that you'd take from Coventry. You actually said nobody. Has that changed?
I think just on the basis of what you said there, Stuart, I'd take Asante. I'd take him on loan to the end of the season.
Okay, he won't go on loan. I think he will be sold.
All right.
And then I said, is Liam Manning the man to take you up? You said yes. Is that still the same?
I think Liam Manning is a very good young coach who's got his own way of doing things. He's very rigid in his approach, his game management. Is he the man to take us up? Yeah, I hope so. But equally, I think that if he gets year-on-year progress, I think, and let's say he got us to 7th, or we even got us to 6th, but we lost in the playoffs. I think his ambition is such that if a bigger club than Bristol City came knocking in the autumn of this year, he's ambitious. He wants to go to the top. Whether he does that with us remains to be seen, but he's not going to get to the top unless he does get some level of improvement with us, and he's sort of heading that way at the moment.
Yeah, okay, interesting. Any quick questions, Mark, for David from you?
No, nothing more for me. No.
Okay, lovely. So we'll just go round then quickly. Mark, prediction off you for Saturday, please.
I can see goals in this game because we usually score goals. We usually concede goals as well. Bristol City, good side. I could see it being 2-2.
Okay,
A
fair
Desmond.
enough. Yeah, David?
I was going to say 2-2 as well. Let me be optimistic. I'll say 2-1 to us.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going to say the reverse of you, David. I'm going to say 2-1 Cov. I just feel that our home form at the moment is on the up. We do create chances. Hopefully we can put them away. We do leak a goal, so I think we will concede. So hopefully it will be a 2-1 victory to Coventry. So good luck for the rest of the season, again, apart from on Saturday. Much appreciated for your time, David. I know that you've got to go and get your dinner and stuff now. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having me on, Stuart. Thank you for having me on,
Cheers.
Stuart. Good to see you again, Mark. Good luck for the rest of the season. All right,
thanks, mate.
David. Thanks, mate.
Cheers, David. Bye, mate.
Bye.
Right, sorry guys. David, before you do go, just remind us where you are and what you do, please.
How do you mean?
In terms of your podcast.
Oh, yeah. So, Forever Bristol City podcast. We're on Spotify and the usual podcast platforms, but we do live recordings of every game on YouTube. So we'll be reviewing Coventry versus Bristol City live on YouTube at 6:00 on Saturday, and then the podcast recording will be on Spotify, etc., from first thing Sunday morning.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Just remember where you can find us, guys. We are available on X or Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Please go and like and subscribe on YouTube. If you listen to us on podcasts, Apple, Spotify, wherever else you get your podcast from, please go and rate us 5 stars. We're sponsored by Right Steel Fabrications, and we're partnered with the Anecdote Sports Bar and the Sky Blue Tavern in Coventry. On that note, Mark, thank you very much. David, once again, thank you for your time. It's much appreciated. Play up Sky Blues.
Cheers.